Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and in this video we'll be doing a full breakdown on Samurai's job changes and additions coming in Endwalker. This information is fresh out of the latest media tour, which I had the privilege of attending, but bear in mind everything in this video is still subject to change before Endwalker's release. I won't be focusing too much on potencies here because of that, unless it's something I feel like is worth bringing up. Oh, and also there's a playlist in the description, and from clicking the I in the top right corner of the video, that will take you to the entire playlist of Endwalker job changes. With that, let's get started. So like many other jobs in Endwalker, the general gist of what you want to do on Samurai is largely the same. Keep Higanbana up, hit Madaris and Tsubames, and generate Kenki for burst windows or Shinten spam and single target. However, some changes they received will adjust the way this plays out during burst windows, and also should help with streamlining some of the more finicky things about Samurai from the previous expansion. The most important thing for Samurai's existing skills is the addition of a new effect for Mekkyo Shisui. When under the effect of Mekkyo Shisui, Gecko and Kasha will now apply their respective second part combo buffs, meaning you can skip reapplying them when using Mekkyo. Wish I'd remembered that in my recording, but hey, I'm telling you now. This should make your opener and reopener a lot smoother and more intuitive. Then there are some other noticeable changes. For one, Third Eye no longer grants the Open Eyes effect. Instead, it just rewards 10 Kenki, so definitely remember to use this anytime you're taking unavoidable damage on Samurai. You'll want all those extra resources. Also, the Merciful Eyes and Hisatsu Seigen abilities are no longer in the game. A bit of a hit to self-sustain, but it does streamline the use of Third Eye a bit. Another really important one, Samurai's AoE finishers now all grant the Samurai's Fuka and Fugetsu buffs, which are this expansion's renamed versions of the buffs you get from Shifu and Jinpu, instead of just extending them. On dungeons, you won't be using your single target buffs first before AoEing, just flow right into your AoE on those big packs of mobs. Some other changes we can rattle off. Gurren now has fall off damage in Endwalker. Good thing the rest of your AoE should be quite strong in its place. Shoha's meditation stacks no longer generate from Tsubamegeshi, but it is generated from another new skill, so you'll still have 3 ways of building stacks. Finally, Ikishoten had its cooldown doubled, all the way up to 120 seconds. It seems they primarily want it to line up with Gurren or Sene, but it does also have a new use at level 90 as well. Okay, now that we're through with the majority of the changes for the lower levels, what does Samurai get from 80 all the way up to 90? Well, let's start at level 82, where they get an AoE version of Shoha to use their meditation stacks on. Just a good alternative for dungeons when you want to do a bit more damage. What is it called? Shoha 2. Yeah, they really called it that. At level 84, the Samurai gets a second charge of Tsubamegeshi. Now in the opener, this should mean double the Madares on single target and double the Gokens in AoE packs, but after that, its charge time is the same, so you shouldn't just be getting double after that initial burst. The big thing is that this should prevent overcapping on boss downtimes if they happen to line up with 60-second reopeners. And if you happen to make a mistake and certain things fall out of alignment because of different boss timings or just your own mistakes, it should give you some leeway to make errors without feeling like the ability is drifting super hard. At level 86, Samurai gets a third AoE combo finisher off of Fuga called Hyosetsu. Its potency is just slightly higher than the other 2 AoE combo finishers, so it seems like you'll just incorporate it in place of one of the 2 buffing AoE finishers between every Goken, alternating which one every time as to make sure to keep buffs up. At level 88, Samurai gets a second charge of Mekkyo Shisui. Again, this should really just make the opener a bit more exciting and prevent overcapping if 60-second reopener timings happen to line up with boss downtime. The opener is going to be full Mekkyo though. Finally, at level 90, Samurais get a new trait and skill. The trait gives Ikishoten a new effect, causing it to grant the Samurai Ogi Namakiri ready. It still gives you the 50 Kenki as well, this is just added on top of it. Now once you have this effect, you will be able to use their level 90 capstone skill, Ogi Namakiri. This attack is a 2-parter. The first time you use it, it's a lot like using an EI Jutsu. It has a cast time and it does this big AoE hit with some fall off damage that also grants a stack of meditation. You can then immediately press the button again to activate Keishi Namikiri, which will do a second swing that is the same as a Kaitend Ogi Namikiri. Basically, it's like a built-in Tsubame, but just for this skill. You'll use both of these skills every 2 minutes during buffs ideally. So ignoring the fact that my footage shows me forgetting Mekyo's changes to Gecko and Kasha, the Mekyo and Tsubame changes hopefully streamline the openers and reopeners significantly. Honestly, Tsubame is the thing I hear most samurais complaining about if you have any sort of misalignment with your skills due to boss downtime or any sort of mistakes and whatnot. I imagine that you could do openers that are somewhat similar but adjusted versions of what is done now, and then that's going to depend on the different skill speed tiers. So, I mean, I worked out something. I guess this is what like a 2.14 might look like. You get pretty much everything inside of what I think will be the approximate trick attack window going into the next expansion, and that seems to be okay, but I don't know if something like this actually pans out for the rest of the fight. Maybe it's got bad looping, maybe there's a better GCD order that could yield more potency inside of a buff window or something like that. So I'm going to let the samurai mains figure this out. This was just something I tossed together. Don't take it too seriously. I'm not a samurai main myself. And please don't let a Mekyo pre-pull become standard, because if it is, there's going to be 30-second countdowns, and I am so dreading the possibility of that. So samurai mains, please give me the good news and tell me that a Mekyo pre-pull is not the way to go. Because I know you can do it now, but with 2 charges, getting it on cooldown might be more beneficial in certain fights. I don't know. I'm dreading the thought of it. Overall, the changes should help streamline the job a bit, like I said earlier, and the AoE changes and new skills should make dungeons and raids feel smoother on Samurai. I mean, this is kind of happening across the board with all of the DPS jobs, heck, even the non-DPS jobs in the game, where outside of just a few different buttons, your single target and the AoE rotations still kind of all have the exact same idea behind them, just a couple of different skills that you execute depending on the situation. For Samurai, though, for me the job always felt really fluid, but it felt kind of rigid at the same time. Like, it made sense, but there was just not very much room to screw up at all, or everything fell apart. And to me, this looks like it's trying to help lower that rigidity. I interpret that as a buttery smooth experience, but hey, we almost always have some cracks in the concrete when it comes to playing optimally, so I'll reserve full judgment until Endwalker is live. And, you know, when the actual samurai mains have something more constructive to say about it than I do. Thank you for watching this video talking about the samurai job changes coming in Endwalker. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and check out the rest of that playlist. There's a lot of videos in there that I worked very hard for. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one, and until then, take care.